our think tank. Have any of you, by a show of hands, has anyone ever come across a case or a judge who wants all plea offers placed on the record? Anyone? Anyone?
No.
Anyone?
No.
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 All right. All right. Should I read into this, Holly? Should I read into it that there's something happening? There's some rumblings out there that something is happening with the doomsday prophet Chad Daybell?
We all want to know whether or not there's a plea offer. We all want to know whether or not one of those, whether Chad or Lori's going to flip on the other. And it's very interesting, that transparency we were just talking about in the last segment. I think the court right now is saying, like, let's see what these offers are and let's take a cold look at it. And I think that's what the world is wanting to know right now, is what in the world happened, who did it, and who's going to turn on the other person, if at all. It's fascinating, especially because they're married.
Yeah. And do you think that prosecutors will even offer anything here to Mr. Doomsday?
Well, I would think they would offer to Mr. Doomsday before Mrs. Doomsday. I mean, in terms of, look at it, comparing the bad and the evil. I mean, I don't that one's worse than the other. I think although the bodies were found on his property, but they want him to flip. They want him to talk. They haven't charged the homicides in these cases. There's a ways to go in terms of severity of charges. There's a lot of charges, but there could be a lot more and a lot more severe. So maybe they make an offer to him. I mean, maybe they have him come in and take her down. I mean, I think a lot of people like to see that happen, but I think a lot of people like to see them both go down.
Yeah, Michael, you're a former
Right.
federal prosecutor. And I know federal prosecutors, they get people to flip pretty good. They're really good at that. But
Right.
Tell me, is that going to be a condition? Because a lot of, day to day in courthouses, the plea offers are not usually contingent on anything other than, let's just get rid of this case. All right, I'll offer you a deal so I don't have to go to trial. Here, do you see prosecutors with that approach, or the approach being, if you want a deal, you got to give us something?
Oh, yeah, I definitely think there's going to be a give and take, and it's going to probably be whoever flips first, if they do flip on each other. So whoever flips first will likely get the better deal. But I don't see them being able to get a plea deal, with the exception of potentially life without the possibility of parole, absent them flipping on one another. Someone's going to have to flip on the other. Because there might be, they still have to have I'm not sure they have a cause of death yet. So prosecutors still have a case to prove. So they may need one of them to flip on the other.
Holly, looking at this, who do you see? I mean, the behavior is horrible on both, right? I mean, the story I think I would tell as a prosecutor is that Chad Daybell is the guru, and he's the one who's able to lead Lori Vallow down this road. Lori Vallow kind of looks to Chad for guidance, and then looks towards her brother, Alex Cox, to carry out whatever needs to be done. But then when I hear Lori Vallow-Daybell talk, she's the ice queen. People die, she just doesn't care. She doesn't care. They're dead. She had one husband that died, and she sent a text message to his kids. I mean, a text message. You text that what? I mean, that's who she is. So if you're the prosecutor looking at this, how do you weigh these two? Chad Daybell, the one who's kind of like telling everyone about what's happening and what a zombie is and what we need to do to zombies, versus Lori, who's the ice queen in the middle, versus Alex, the dead hitman?
I think that Lori Daybell is the person that prosecutors should target to flip on Chad. And I think it's a very classic story of a person who got caught up in the whirlwind of a cult-like religion. And I think it's a very easy story that would make some sense if the prosecutors really targeted Lori to say, okay, we understand that you met Chad Daybell. We understand that you were a fan of his literature and you believed in him. And we talk about what Chad thinks about zombies. And then all of a sudden, Lori starts describing her children to others, to friends, as having zombie or evil within them. The children were found, their bodies were found on Chad Daybell's property. And I think that it will be very, very interesting over the next few weeks to see whether or not Lori Daybell is able to pierce that Ice Queen shield that she has. because I'm fascinated to know whether or not she's going to file for divorce during this proceeding. That's going to be a really big signal that there is a deal going on and that someone's going to flip. But I target Lori.
All right, when we come back, we've got a story out of Florida involving an alleged serial killer.